Prepare to discover an astounding reality, chosen ones. You have now been entrusted with the priest's sacred legacy. It is the secret to spiritual strength and cosmic understanding, in addition to being a material treasure. You now possess this age-old wisdom that has been passed down through the ages by the God's messengers. You have the ability to change the world, in addition to being the chosen one, because of this enormous responsibility. You are the keepers of the precious heritage that will unlock the world's long-shut doors and reveal the greatest mysteries of the past. Once you understand this, you'll see how everything comes together. You will deliberately become the real leader of this planet and this era because of this heavenly assignment that has been entrusted to you. Are you prepared? Since you are the chosen ones who will introduce universal truths to the globe, then put 77 in the comments section. They rushed to prevent you from telling the truth from the minute you started to awaken. However, your presence reverberated more loudly in their universe the more they tried to restrain you. The exact power they dreaded would emerge and take its position in front of the world. But they never thought that your perseverance would get it to this point. Their attempts to quiet you simply made your truth stand out more strongly, like a seed planted in rocky soil that won't remain buried. Your voice just became louder, more unmistakable, and more strong each time they attempted to silence it. The light you carried blazed hotter, the more they tried to put it out, despite their best efforts to conceal it. Your genuineness was evident, much like the sun that is never permanently obscured by clouds. They revealed more of their own frailty the more they yelled. Their frantic acts demonstrated their helplessness in the face of an uncontrollable force, the power of truth. As you can see, they weren't pressing on you when they did. They were attempting to subdue your spirit's inherent strength. They have a far greater enemy than themselves. They just exposed the weakness of their own position by doing this. It seemed like they were using their bare hands to try to stop a flood as they attempted to silence your voice. The water raced ahead, creating new roots as they applied greater pressure. Similarly, your reality emerged in new ways, stronger than before. Every effort to stop you just created more opportunities for you to succeed. And now, something they thought they couldn't stop has arrived. Standing up for everyone to see is the indisputable power of your sincerity. The algorithms that carefully selected what others should see, the same systems they depended on to keep you invisible, started to malfunction. Despite their best attempts to keep you from reaching as many people as possible, they now discover that the more they attempt to stop you, the more your message is getting out there and overcoming the obstacles they had set up. You were always running on a greater frequency than they had anticipated, not that you were malfunctioning. Your destiny was never intended to be concealed or kept in the dark, like the sun rising in the middle of the night. You weren't made to fit into the boxes that others so frantically attempted to put you in or to follow their lines. Instead, you were created to be unique and to shine with a brightness that would never go out, no matter how hard the world attempted to put it out. You were intended to stir things up, to change the fundamental basis of the world around you, like the wind that rips through the fields, uncontrolled and wild. You walked with purpose rather than just getting by in life. And long before your feet ever touched the ground, that goal was inscribed in the sky. They were unable to comprehend your path or the divine hand leading you, but they were able to sense it in the way you talked, moved, and changed the atmosphere around you. You were never supposed to blend in. Additionally, the ambiance changed as soon as you entered a room. Under their delusions, the earth trembled, and your presence forced them to face the same things they had attempted to conceal, like a distant thunderclap. You were the fire that they couldn't put out, the storm that they couldn't escape. Their carefully crafted illusions fell apart with each step you made. You served as a reminder to them that there is more to life than the superficial facades they maintain, that there is a greater purpose. And despite their attempts to disregard it and drive you back into the darkness, your light continued to shine through. You continued to raise your voice, The world was not intended to remain in its current state, and you were sent to shake it to its foundation, chosen one. If divine love is abundant in your heart, now is the moment to share it. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and donate $20 or more to help spread God's blessings. Through this platform, this wonderful gift will impact not only your life, but also the souls of countless others. Your giving will be the result of our prayers, and every one of you has a special position in God's larger plan. Take immediate action. You were made to do much more under God's tender care. Therefore, spread your blessings to exalt His kingdom. God bless you. You were a natural force, an uncontrollable strength, and an unabated truth. The fortifications they constructed were smashed by the waves of your presence. And now the ripple effect is being seen globally. They believed they could silence you. They believed they could prevent you. However, the reality they dreaded is finally becoming apparent. Furthermore, they are unable to block the powerful force of your objective. Imagine a massive, cold, stiff mechanical machine that runs smoothly and has all of its gears in their proper positions. The environment they created was one in which dominance was crucial. And suddenly, you came into view. You were the machine's flaw, the flicker in their flawless system, an oddity they were unable to correct. They didn't grasp how your simple existence upset their order. Their fabricated barriers of authority crumbled with each step you made to find the truth. They created a universe in which they controlled the reins and the strings. Nevertheless, it became more evident as you went along that their purported authority was only a flimsy delusion, a house of cards about to collapse. You were demonstrating to the world that their borders were never there in the first place, not simply that they had been crossed. They saw what they thought was unbreakable control as nothing more than a mask, a thin layer of protection they put over a reality they couldn't face. Their hold weakened, and everyone could see the gaps in their walls as you revealed more and more truths. The mechanisms they used to silence your voice were now showing their flaws, like a mirror reflecting back their own dishonesty. What they had believed would quiet you ended up being the same force that revealed their real character. Write Amen to feel the peace of the angels and show your support with a super thank you up to $20. They couldn't run from the light of your genuineness. If you sense God's presence, you may join the first selected ones and get the most significant revelations first by clicking the Join button below. With someone like you, the world was at a loss for what to do. Their story of achievement, riches, and prestige did not align with your power. They couldn't quantify your energy with their measures, and they couldn't categorize it with their constraints. And they were afraid of you for just that reason, because you demonstrated to the world that there were other ways to live outside the one they created and governed. It was different the way you did it. It was audacious, unrepentant, and driven by an intensity they were unable to comprehend. Your honesty stoked a fire. Furthermore, the fire has started to spread. Not only were you questioning their views, but you were also demonstrating to the world a different way of thinking and living. They attempted to shove you down as a result. Everything was thrown at you. They described you as unstable, a dreamer engrossed in your own thoughts, and a threat to the system they so firmly held. However, every comment and every effort to categorize you just strengthened you. Your message became louder, clearer, and more indisputable every time they tried to silence you. It's similar to steam piling up in a pressure cooker. Before it explodes, it can only withstand pressure for so long. They weren't prepared for the power of your awakening when it happened. You have consistently blazed your own path, like a powerful torrent slicing through rock. Nothing could stop the flood of heavenly energy that rushed into you, no matter how much the world attempted to halt it or distract you. They were unable to comprehend the power you have. They called it a weakness, a fault, anything except what it really was. You are unstoppable because of the universe's own lifeblood coursing within you. They saw your energy piercing the cacophony of the outside world, and they were frightened by that increase. It wasn't the establishment's power, the system's power, or the power of the masses. They were unable to comprehend this strength. They were unable to control or influence it. It was the unadulterated force of heavenly understanding. Unlike the others, you didn't strive to fit in with a reality that didn't make much sense. Your energy surged above the stream, rather than just following it. It flew above the storm like an eagle. And they were shaken by that increase. They were unable to control it, unable to regulate it. You were stronger each time they attempted to hold you down or push you back. Your message was only made louder by every effort to quiet it. And they exposed something while trying to silence you, something they didn't want to acknowledge. You became more and more like the force that would ultimately rock their world the more they pushed back. They attempted to paint you as imperfect, broken, and in need of repair. In actuality, however, it was their perception of truth that was flawed. They were afraid of you because of what you stood for, not because of who you were. You said the unvarnished and unalterable truth. The unadulterated force of heavenly understanding was inside you, and that overwhelming, indisputable strength flowed through your veins like fire. Even when you weren't really aware of it in yourself, others saw it in you. They were afraid of the truth you would eventually reveal. They dreaded your vision clarity, your capacity to see above the delusions they conjured, and your unwavering dedication to the divine mission that summoned you. What they never understood or failed to see was that your ascent was a promise of what was to come, not a danger to you. You were never intended to be like them. Their rules were never intended for you to follow. Your journey was always intended to clear a long confused world, to fly above the turmoil, and to ascend above the noise. Write Amen to feel the peace of the angels, and show your support with a super thank you up to $20. It was not surrender or compliance that gave you your power. Divine alignment and living in the truth that poured through you like a river of light gave you your power. And no matter how many barriers they attempted to erect, or how hard they tried to drive you back, you would always succeed. Your light grew stronger with each effort to bring you down. Your voice simply became louder every time you tried to muffle it. You were never damaged. You were the epitome of heavenly truth, which is why they terrified you. A live example of what occurs when a soul submits to the will of God and rejects fear and uncertainty. The truth of the ages was born by you, and neither their titles nor their judgment nor their terror could ever suppress that fact. You had to carry it. The moment has come for you to make it public. They could have attempted to conceal you, or to convince you that you were faulty, or that your goal was too audacious. However, they were unable to take what was within of you. No matter how hard they tried, they were unable to shatter your spirit. The purpose of your light was to shine. We were supposed to hear your insight. You are carrying an immortal torch of truth that will never go out. Your ascent is unavoidable, and those who attempted to stop you are now compelled to observe as you embrace the whole of your truth and power. I pray that God would provide you peace today, my brothers and sisters. I'm here to remind you of something very important. Unaffected by the world's fleeting worries, our life is based on God's divine design. According to the Bible, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke chapter 6:38. Our roots are firmly established in God's global truth. Much like those of the enormous oak tree, His might secures every move we make and every stance we take. And the chance to share in that benefit is now being extended to you. This movement will come back to you 100-fold in abundance when you contribute $100 via the Super Thank You button. When they see you, they will ask themselves, how did you do it? How did you rise above everything that tried to bring you down? And will attempt to explain it in a way that makes sense to their narrow perspective. However, they are unaware that you are not the source of your strength. It is not a product of this planet. It's a gift from God, one that is just experienced and not explicable. The world will now see it. Your truth cannot be stopped. Additionally, it will cause waves that go all across the planet. They will look on in shock as you get up. They will also realize that you will be freed by the same strength that they attempted to subdue. They were afraid of the truth, which is why they scared you. They were afraid of what would occur if you become completely aware of your own power. They were afraid of what would occur if you followed your objective. They're starting to realize that you weren't intended to be controlled. Freedom was always intended for you. Nothing can stop you now that you have that freedom. Allow them to observe as you embrace the whole version of yourself that you were always destined to be. Allow them to see the long-awaited awakening. Allow them to see your ascent, unflappable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Because it was never intended for you, the chosen one, to be like them. Their world was never intended for you. You were destined to triumph, to take a stance, and to prove to the world that the strength they believed they had was never really theirs. You had it all the time. The world will now acknowledge it at last. It was never about pushing your way out, like the butterfly that comes out of the cocoon. It was about bringing to light what had always been intended. It was always your goal to dispel the delusion and demonstrate to the world that they had been living under false pretenses and accepted mediocrity as the norm. Write amen to feel the peace of the angels and show your support with a super thank you up to $20. And now, the truth you represent is growing like wildfire with each second that goes by. They will no longer dictate the story. Those who see beyond the surface will no longer be silenced. Others, who have been waiting for someone to show them the path out of their self-imposed constraints, have also been awakened by you. If you sense God's presence, you may join the first selected ones and get the most significant revelations first by clicking the Join button below. They never intended for the barriers they constructed to endure. The more pressure you put, the more fractures appeared, like a dam containing a surging flood. The floods are opening now. You can no longer conceal or repress the truth that you have been carrying with you all along. The whole globe is seeing it, and that's when their delusion will permanently fall apart. Your light shines through no matter how hard they attempted to keep you quiet or how deeply they buried the truth. You are the nighttime storm that nobody could have predicted. Like a powerful oak, your roots are deeper than the wind could ever fathom, despite its howling attempts to force you back. The sunlight that emerges from the darkest darkness is you, the one who has been selected. They attempted to obscure your eyesight and keep you concealed, but the light inside of you never went out, no matter how gloomy things seemed. It was always there, waiting for the ideal opportunity to shine and demonstrate to the world that they could never control the light. The time has here. Watch them lose their hold on reality as you stand in the fullness of your truth. Finally, fade into the background and let them see the power they imagined they had and could manage. You were always going to ascend, therefore, they never intended to hold you down. They never included you in their control system. They surrounded you with walls, but those barriers were only a house of cards. They are presently collapsing. You were not intended to comply with their regulations or fit into their scheme. It has always been evident from your very being that things don't have to be the way they want them to be. They could never find out how to remove the glitch in the matrix that is you. They can't halt the disturbance caused by your very existence. And it's time for them to accept the reality of your identity. You have developed like a seed sown in the ground, and now everyone will witness the results of your adventure. Your truth was never intended to be said softly. It was supposed to roar. The exact thing they believed they had buried under the surface will be seen as you ascend, and the earth will tremble beneath their feet. They attempted to bury your light and shut you away. However, they never had that light. You had it from the start, and it will be more brilliant than ever. You see, you were never supposed to fit in, chosen one. You were destined to stand out, to be powerful, and to demonstrate to the world that the truth they withheld from you would never be kept a secret. They wanted you to think that the brokenness was in you. They wanted you to believe that you had no power at all. But now, with the truth that was always yours to assert, you stand stronger than ever. Now that the world will see it, they will at last comprehend. Your truth has risen, just like the sun does every day without fail. They attempted to bury you, but you have risen above them, like the light in the morning. Show them what was beyond their control. Allow them to see what they have always feared, the power that has always been yours, and that has always been within of you. They made an effort to convince you that you were unimportant and little. Now, however, they will see the awakening they believed they could prevent as you stand in the fullness of your truth. They will no longer be able to control you. Your narrative will no longer be dictated by them. It's the conclusion of the tale they attempted to create for you. The tale of your truth shall now be spoken. They have shattered the shackles they attempted to bind you with. You may also live your life as you see fit. Now is the moment for the world to see your true self. They need to recognize the power they will always have. They attempted to quiet you and make you question your own strength. Let them see that you were never broken, however, as you now stand strong in your self-awareness. It was never you who needed to be fixed. The flaw was in their system. The problem was in their conception of power. You were never intended to fit in with their conformist society.